Welcome to the Call to Farms podcast. I'm your host, Tim Ing, the homesteading agent, joined by my lovely wife, Sophie.
Hey friends, this is Sophie with Sprinkle with Soil and Homesteading Lender.
Hey, friends, it would mean the world to us if you would hit that like or subscribe button on this episode if you found that this has been helpful for you. And please feel free to share it with your family and friends.
Your support and asking you to subscribe to our channel helps us continue to record episodes like this and so many others where we can bring other experts in the food and farming space, as well as being able to show up here late night with you to continue any market updates and updates on our farm.
Hey, well, this is our May housing market and homestead update. So much has happened. We just got back from the Prairie Roots Homesteading Summit. It was their inaugural one. And we had such a great time being keynote speakers, as well as meeting a lot of the rough and tough and hardy North Dakotians, North Dakota homesteaders.
North Dakotian. I like that better, actually. No offense if you are from the Dakotas. It is 11:30 at night over here. And so we just got back. It was almost a 14-hour journey back yesterday from, again, the Prairie Roots Homesteading Summit in North Dakota. It was such a great time. We actually got to South Dakota first. We flew into Rapid City and went to visit Mount Rushmore with the children, as well as the Badlands, which was one of the national parks that we really wanted to visit when we had our RV and wanted to make the trek east. But we didn't have that much time because we were traveling with livestock. So it was great to be able to squeeze that trip in and be able to keynote together, as well as with Justin and Rebekah Rhodes. It was our first time meeting them, and it was really fun.
Yeah. And this is a great reminder that we build in work-life balance, even on the road when we are going to be speaking. We love to bring our children along. In fact, they got to speak on stage about entrepreneurship, which we're very proud that they were able to do that. And we built in some time for play. So I don't know when the next time we'll be out there to check out the Badlands, but we definitely need to come back out and stay a few more days because I know we didn't see all of it.
We didn't see all of it, but we also got I think it was called like the Scenic Scientific Passport of National Parks, which is really exciting for not just children, but for adults too. And in doing so, there was a page for us to come visit the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. So we actually knocked 2 national parks out on this trip, as well as the Mount Rushmore, which is a memorial apparently.
Yeah. And I'll never forget that although we didn't get to spend a lot of time at the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, what I will always remember is looking for the American bison and actually having one walk across the road. And of course, we wanted to get selfies with it.
I
And
don't know if we're supposed to tell people about that.
well,
We don't encourage you to get out of the car and take a selfie with an American bison.
yeah.
So you did not hear that from us, but it was one of the highlights.
Well,
It may be one of the highlights of your trip.
I didn't think I would be as interested or excited about it. I mean, we have cattle, but bison were pretty huge.
Yeah, not at all like cattle. But their calves were cute. They do look like cattle, which is fun.
And at the summit, not only did we get to meet some amazing people, we got to share our story and we got to share the stage with our children. And that's something that I will always remember.
Yeah. We talked about encouraging entrepreneurship on the homestead, but we didn't want to just share about all of the strategies that we do at home. We wanted the audience to also hear from the children. So they were able to talk through a lot of the cool things that they have been working on and the lessons learned and some of the challenges that they've had to encounter on this journey. That was the highlight of speaking at the Prairie Roots Homesteading Summit. But we also did keynote and kick off on Saturday,
Mhm,
where we shared our leaving the valley for the mountains story,
mhm.
our progress throughout the last 6 years since COVID or since 2020, but how we also started early on in 2017 when we got our quarter acre in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and each time we tell that story, I'm always amazed as to how far we've gone in just a few years. And the parts that I will always remember is just getting the feedback from the people who are listening in. And if there's anything that we can do by sharing our story and helping, we want to be able to help inspire others, because if we can do it, so can you.
Actually, there is one that I do want to share. This was by Forks Family Farmstead. He said that they were so inspired the talks that we gave about our journey and the entrepreneurship talk with the girls. We're excited to put these ideas into action, and we're looking forward to the upcoming book. Our 11-year-old read your cookbook the entire 6-hour drive home. She's super excited to try them. And to me, I had to pause and even took a screenshot of that comment, because so many times I didn't want to write the cookbook. We don't want to travel because it makes it really hard. But it's through comments like that where we can see that we're making an impact for families, but not only to families, but to the children.
Mhm.
That is the biggest reason why we do what we do. In fact, when I was teaching, I was doing a demo for how to make nourishing bone broth. There was this one girl in front. She asked just the most thoughtful questions that I could have ever imagined. From if you think that snacks are bad, then what snacks do you and your family eat? Or have you ever thought about making an egg drop soup for your pho? Like, just a lot of thoughtful questions that she showed that she was extremely engaged throughout my presentation.
Mhm.
And it really does bring me so much hope, because I know that that same girl is the same one that's going to be making changes in her family. She's going to be making the egg drop soup with the pho. She's going to be making snacks from beef jerky to the dehydrated apple chips. And so I always set out to write the book and really hoped with a goal to make an impact on one family. And so far, um, it's just been really great to hear everybody's feedback. So thank you if you were at the summit, and thank you if you've ever come to listen to us speak, and thank you if you've ever come here and leave a message for us to read. It's really encouraging, and we really appreciate it.
And I also had a great time because I was talking about how to find land and how to secure it. And I will be doing a very similar talk coming up next month at the Modern Homesteading Conference. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, it's in beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You're not going to want to miss it. It's on June 26th, 27th. The link will be below. Would love to see you there. Okay. All that was very fun. Getting to travel, see different new sites. We got to visit North and South Dakota for the very first time and got to experience it with the family. Then we had to come back home to reality and hit the ground running hard with getting the spring beds going, as well as we're going to be completing our fencing. And what else have we done?
Well, I'm working on that soil project
Oh,
with Jack.
mhm,
We have someone in our local community who is a double PhD soil scientist
mhm.
and incredibly brilliant mind. He used to be a professor at University of Virginia. And he heard our presentation a few weeks ago on the introduction to Korean natural farming. And though he is also an organic farmer, he does use a lot of chemical fertilizers. So he approached me after the presentation and said, "Hey, I'm wondering if you want to work on this test together. I think it'd be really beneficial for us to see." So we are in the process, Tim and I are in the process of making new IMO 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so that we can then place that on our test plots on our providential pastures land. And in that, we are going to compare more of the control to the chemical ways to grow organically and the biological ways, the KNF ways to grow our organic vegetables. And we're going to test out some corn seeds and see how well it does.
Yeah, we're super excited to be a part of this. I never been a PhD student, so this has been quite a ride so far, and we can't wait to see the results. Minor correction, He was a professor, I believe, at Virginia Tech, and I think also at UT Knoxville. So it is all in all, he's a very well learned man. And I love the fact that even at his age and with his experience, he is opening up his mind to what we bring to the table regarding Korean natural farming. And like any scientist, he wants to test it. So that is so beautiful to be able to do that.
Right. We got in at like a 1:30 this morning, and I had to meet him at 11 o'clock, and we worked until about 1 o'clock, 1:30, and we took off the tarp. We had put out silage tarp for the past few weeks to kill off the grass and the weeds. And now we have put down the landscape fabric to basically map out our plots. It was in the dead heat of noon, and I did not last very long.
A lot today.
It was really hot. So all that to say, these are the days that you want to get started early morning, or you want to work in the evening. So we're going to continue now to work in the evenings, a couple of days a week, and get our test plots together. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to share the results. I've been taking videos and photos of the progress, so just need to put them all together, and maybe we'll get a YouTube video together at some point.
That's going to be exciting. All right. So let's get to the topic of why you all tuned in. What is the housing market doing?
Okay, so the housing market update is interest rates are not quite at the 52-week high, but it is encroaching upon it. What we're seeing like all across the board, even gas prices where we're at now, we're at like $4.29 a gallon of unleaded. So it has doubled in the last I want to say few weeks. Because when we left in February, it was still about $2.30. So, it's changed a lot in the last 10, 12 weeks. And
Skyrocketed.
yeah, it's getting tough. It's hard for us to go places. And so I'm glad that our homeschool co-op is ending this week. And that means that we have a lot more time and space to start building out our own garden on our 40 acres here. We've already put some things together, but it hasn't been finished yet. So we want to get all of that done. Typically after the Mother's Day is where we start putting seeds into the ground. So all that to say, we are seeing interest rates slowly creep back up again, and we can see our buyers getting a little bit more hesitant. But if you followed us for a while, I think you know that the best time to make your move is when everybody starts getting spooked out. You can always refinance 6 to 7 months after you make your purchase. But if you make your move now, when rates are starting to creep up and buyers are getting hesitant, that's where you can start getting your deals.
Yeah, I have several buyers that have traveled in to Tennessee, and they are actually doing their recon because they're doing their due diligence now. There's less competition and more opportunity to get the land or the property that they desire. So this is the right time to not let off the gas, but to actually, if you're on the fence and you want to take those next steps, you should be doing that now. And as you mentioned, get into that property, because that's the most difficult thing, is to find the right property that meets your needs and then refinance later.
Now, I do want to caveat to say that there is this common theme that we have noticed in a few of our buyers where they have been searching for several years. Typically, they are ones that have been traveling around the country in an RV. This seems to be a common thing where they may not be looking in that particular area, but finally landed into the area that they're wanting to purchase, and realizing that when they were started to look in 2022 or 2023, prices were a lot lower, namely because we started to see that the rates were increasing. Prices were lower, and now they're almost $90,000, $100,000 more for that same property.
Yeah.
And our buyers are wanting to come in to lowball the offer because they think that it's not worth it. And so this is one of the things that like has been a common theme over the last couple of weeks, and maybe you can talk more about that.
It happens, and it happens quite often with many of my buyers. They'll come and they'll take a look at where the property, whether it's land only or if it has a home on it, they'll see what it's sold for. And maybe it's sold just a few years ago. And now they're asking for $200,000 more. And they may not have put that much effort or work into renovating the home. So the big question is it worth it? Am I overpaying for this property? Is the market going to drop and I'm going to lose equity? These are real questions that many of my clients wrestle with. And my answer to that is that, well, we're going to take a look at the comps. We're going to look at what has been selling. And if you're looking for a homestead property, no two properties are alike, but we can do our very best to take a look at price per acre, as well as maybe a home with the square footage of similar size that sold within the past year and that was built around the same time. And so that we can come up with relatively a close enough price. Now, with all of my clients, we typically have an appraisal contingency. So no matter what offer you make, a third party appraiser is going to have to use based off of their experiences and based off of the measurements that they do and the comps that they pull, they're going to be vouching whether or not this property will appraise at your offer price. But I often find that a lot of the buyers want to lowball the offer, or they want to just give the seller just a little bit, barely enough to cover the commission. And I'm telling you right now, that's not going to fly because there's so much competition in terms of those who are researching. They may be quiet. They may be lurking in the background. So you may not be getting these multiple bid wars when the interest rates drop, but there is plenty of people who are doing their due diligence right now. And if you're looking at a property and it appeals and fits your needs, chances are it fits a lot of others' needs as well. So all that to say, take it with a grain of salt. It is good to know the historical data as to what that property sold for. But more importantly, I like to look at the boundary markers. I like to look at the survey, and I want to know, is this property going to fit your needs? Then let me help negotiate down the price of this property. But I will caveat, in Tennessee, we do things a little bit different. If you come in too low, you may outright insult the seller. They may reject your offer and not even care if you come back and say, oh, wait. I can go up higher. No, you already lost your chance. They thought you were just fooling around with them and they don't care to do business with you.
Right. We've had a buyer do that and then come back with a higher offer above asking what they were even asking for. And the seller ended up going with another buyer at a lower asking price.
That's exactly what happens. Now, coming from California, yes, I can see going back and forth, even over $1,000. There's this negotiating down to the penny. But when you're in Tennessee and in other places in the South, it's all about honor, integrity, and like, hey, we want to trust you and we want the home to go to a buyer that we want to sell it to. We want to make sure that the home goes to the right buyer. That's what the seller's thinking. And if you come off like that, you may lose your chance altogether. Yeah.
And that was a new thing for us when we first moved here and we were negotiating. And we're like, oh, they don't actually play ball the way that most competitive markets like California do, where it would go back and forth several times.
Yeah.
Here in the South, it is put in your highest and best.
And they may even just go back maybe one time only, and it will be between the agents. And we'll just do it verbally just to make sure that both parties are in agreement. And then we'll just get the deal done. So things are done a little bit differently down here. I actually like it though. It's a lot better in terms of that. But all that to say, I'm only mentioning this to you because I'm not trying to push my buyers up. Not at all. I always want to make sure that my clients have all of their options laid out. I don't ever want them to come back and say, Tim, you didn't tell me that by going low, that they won't even listen to me if I go back up to asking price or even just move my offer up a little bit. You've missed your chance. So yeah, I just want to make sure that my clients are well informed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what does that mean? That's for buyers, but what about for sellers in this market? Well, sellers, you still have an opportunity because there aren't very many properties on the market. I mean, there are some that are coming on, but if you are working with your realtor and taking his or her suggestions and getting it ready, and make sure that your realtor doesn't take pictures from their phone. Oh my goodness. You can definitely tell the difference. In fact, I showed a property recently to a client. Property was amazing, but the realtor took photos from her phone. Even at one point, she had her finger on showing on one of the photos. And then on the other photo, she had a picture of the seller in the background. I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, even if you were taking family photos, you would yell at me if I had my finger on there showing. But these photos were public MLS photos, like on Zillow. And I'm like, that is why this property didn't get any showings. But that was to my buyer's benefit. And we were able to get in and get a good deal on that. So if you're selling, make sure your listing agent does his or her job and gets professional photos taken, videos, stage the home, just push your property out in the best possible light.
It's so interesting because in the world of AI now, you really could just transform a room in a matter of seconds.
Yeah,
And well,
that's just
that
laziness.
just makes me that makes me so upset. But it also is like, what are the sellers doing? Are they not looking at the listing themselves?
No, she wasn't looking at she's the senior citizen, but maybe not paying attention
Oh,
to it, which is what was more disheartening. But I had to take a
oh,
screenshot of those photos. They were just ridiculous. But I'm sharing that because not every agent is alike. So depending on the property, so say you have a homestead property or you have property with acreage, make sure you hire the right agent for that job, that he or she will be able to advertise your property and
mm.
put it in front of the right audience. Because at the end of the day, it's not only maximizing the eyeballs on your property, but the right eyeballs who that property will actually pertain to.
And oftentimes we see this being an issue when sellers work with people who are friends and family.
Mm,
We get it. We totally understand.
yeah.
But if you have a very unique homestead property, you need to partner with an agent who understands how to market your property, whether that's in the title, the listing description, how the remarks are on the back end to show other buyers agents, and then more importantly, how to get and how to push your property out to the right audience, whether it's through their branding, through their own messaging, through their emails, through their activity on these multiple listing sites for your particular property, whether it's off market, doing pre-marketing before you even list your home for sale. These are things that someone like Tim can get done for you because that's his specialty. That's what he does. He's talking to people within the homesteading space, and it's a very unique and very niche market. So if you ever find yourself in a position where you have signed a contract with a friend or family agent, and you may find yourself upset because of their lack of trying, their lack of an attempt to bring in the right buyer, it's a conversation to have with your agent. And I know that sometimes that can be hard because they are friends and family.
Well, they might not be lacking. Maybe they just don't have the ability to, or maybe they don't have the network or the connections, or haven't even thought of how to get your property in front of the right people. So I'm not faulting all those agents because there are some very successful residential agents, but homesteading, for example, is a whole different niche. And I'm not guaranteeing a sale quickly, but at least I have a lot of buyers who contact me and I work with homesteads all the time. I specialize in that. So I know what to look for. I know how to market the property. But as you mentioned, any friend or family who doesn't go with me, That is such a sense of betrayal that's so hurtful. I see lots of memes online that are hilarious, but it does really hurt right here. But all that to say is that it doesn't mean that that's the right choice going with family or friends.
Always been the case, whether it's been for residential,
That's true.
like you have to honestly find the right team for you who is going to be representing you and the best for you. And that doesn't always necessarily mean that your friends are going to understand your exact needs.
I mean, you have a lot at stake, whether it's $200,000 or over $1 million. This is probably one of your greatest assets that you own. And you more often than not need the equity, need the proceeds from the sale of this property in order to purchase your next property. So don't you want someone who's going to be able to negotiate and get you the most for that property? And oftentimes it may not be someone your family or friends with. So all that to say, that goes back to our monthly home buying webinar, which we have one coming up. And that is on, well, that's tomorrow.
Nope, that's today.
Nope, that is today because I'm going to be publishing this today, Tuesday. And that will be this evening.
It's going to be tonight, May 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific.
So please join us this evening. It's weird to say because we're filming it ahead of time, but join us this evening for our home buying webinar. And the one thing that Sophie and I emphasize time and time again is that you need to do your due diligence ahead of time and build your team. And your team is going to consist of a realtor who's going to be that savvy negotiator who's going to get you that property that you want at the lowest cost. And after going through inspections, trying to get you more money back as well for seller concessions. And you're going to need a top loan officer who is going to put you in the right financial product for you, not for them, but for you, where you're going to save money on your mortgage payments every single month. So building the right team, it involves more than just picking a random person online or going on Zillow and Redfin. This is something that is going to be really important. And you're going to want a team, especially if you're moving from out of state, you're going to want a team that is knowledgeable and has your back. So please join us. I'm going to have the link below. We would love to see you there.
And also, if you are not able to make the webinar tonight, we will have a link down below for you to book time to speak with us for any housing needs that you have.
That's right. We gave you a quick update on our homestead, coming back from the Badlands, speaking in North Dakota, as well as the housing market, which interest rates have gone up a little bit. But if you're out and you're looking for your next property or desiring to homestead, now's the time to continue to dig deep and actually do that recon right now. And if you have any questions whatsoever, click on that link below, book some time with me. Happy to answer any questions that you have on homesteading.
That's right. You still have time to get into your home, start growing some food. We are going to see some price increases in our food come this fall. So you can still get ahead of it. There's still an opportunity for you to get set up. Reach out to us if you have any questions at all. We'd love to help facilitate you in this home search that you have.
Thanks so much for joining us. And until next time, stay healthy.
Stay healthy, friends.